and welcome to my show Indus Cuisine, and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. I'm back with another new episode and a new recipe from the heart of Pakistan. Today's recipe is known as the Shahi Korma. Shahi Korma means the grand korma, the luxurious korma that the Mughals used to have. This recipe dates back to the Persian Empire, and in that time this recipe did not have yogurt or dry fruits such as cashews and almonds. But when Akbar the Great came across this recipe, he fell in love with this recipe, and it is said that if you wanted to cook in the Mughal Empire's royal kitchen, the chef, or the Khansama also known back in the day, should know the recipe of korma. And if that chef knew 16 different versions of the korma, he would be the closest to the king. Why? Because the king loved this recipe and he was one of the 9 closest people back in the day. So this recipe is very easy and it's a delight. If you'll have it, you will love it, and it has various ingredients which will be easily available throughout the market. Usually people use ghee, which is also known as clarified butter, but today's recipe we'll be using some oil, and I'm using sunflower oil. What are the ingredients of the recipe today? The ingredients are very easy. First, I'll go through the spices, also known as masalas. You need some coriander powder, red chili powder, turmeric powder. You need some poppy seeds, which is known as hash hash in Pakistan. Then you need cumin. You need some garam masala. Garam masala is known as garam masala throughout the world. Why? Because it's a mixture of 4-5 spices and it brings up the aroma out. Then you need some salt to taste, some ginger, some garlic, which we will freshly shred so that we get that amazing aroma in our meat. Then you need some milk, around half a cup, 1 cup of yogurt. You need some almonds, some cashews, which will go in the food. Just imagine what a delicious luxury this recipe would be. Some onions, around 2, I've kept 3. Coriander towards the end to garnish it, and 1 kg of mutton. In Pakistan, you eat a lot of mutton, not a lot of lamb, and this meat has come from the neck part of the animal. It's considered to be the softest and the most delicious part of the goat. So if you're trying to make this recipe at home, you can use this part of the animal, or otherwise you can also substitute it with chicken, but chicken is very mainstream. Back in the day it was made with mutton, so we'll do that today. Okay, so we shall start this recipe, and this recipe will be made in 2 parts. Why? Because I'll start cooking this recipe quickly just for you. If you just cook mutton otherwise without a pressure cooker, it will take around 40 minutes to get soft and delicious. But if you use the pressure cooker, you can do this within, let's say, 10 minutes. So what we'll do is, first we'll put the meat in the pressure cooker. On the other side, we'll start making the spices. We'll get ready with the spices and we'll start off cooking. So the pressure cooker's over here. I'll get it, and we just need to add some water in it, not too much. But how will you add some water? Whenever you're adding any form of meat, you have to see that at least this much, 1 part of your finger should be up when you're adding water. So the meat needs to be submerged properly. Just open the cling film, add the meat. But before that, what you need to do is you need to turn the stove on. 1 stove is on, so what I'll do is I'll start doing it over here and increase the heat. Why? Because you need to add oil. Add oil, let it come to heat, and then you'll add a few spices. I won't add too much of oil. I'll just add around 4 tablespoons right now, because I just want to sear the meat. What this searing means, give it a coat of oil. Why? Because then the flavor will get interlocked and stay in, and that's what you want. You want to preserve the flavor of whatever ingredient you're using in your food. Remember that. Okay, so till the time the oil is getting hot, which is already hot, so what we'll do is we'll add the meat and we'll just kind of mix it. So transfer the meat. You don't need the bowl anymore. Keep it on the side. Add some salt, around just a 1/4 teaspoon. We're just seasoning the meat, not too much right now. Mix it on high heat. First sear it, and then what you'll do is then you'll add water and let it cook for around 10 minutes, not too long. So I've seared the meat. What I'll do is, I'll take a little bit of ginger, not too much, just this much, cut it into half, and then 4 pieces. Why? Because when this will cook in the water, you'll get a nice aroma in the meat. This is a quicker way of making this recipe. Add water. The temperature of the meat comes down. Mix it up once. As you can see, the meat is submerged completely. Add a lid on it. And let it cook for around 10 minutes. So we'll just switch the stove. Now I'll put it over there. But first, we need to switch on the fire. Okay, so this is done. The flame is on. Keep this on the side, this grill. And now, what you need is, you need to add some more oil. Now what I'll do is, I'll add around, let's say, half a cup of oil. So add half a cup of oil. Why? Because I want to fry the onions, and once the onions are golden brown, we'll start cooking it. I've added half a cup of oil. Let it come to heat. Reduce the heat to medium. Till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll take around 2 onions, slice it, and then chop it. So we want it fine. The root is over here. Cut it from between. Look at Mother Nature. One onion is round, the other one's a bit cylindrical. Both come from the same garden. Just make these cuts. Go through it like this. Slide the knife out. Always remember, keep the root on. That's the best way to go through it. And now finally chop the onions. The slower you go, the better it is. This is done. Keep it on the side. Likewise, for the other onion, what I'll do is, I won't choose 2 because these onions are bigger than medium. So I'll use 1.5. This is how you need to improvise. This is done. So we're making Shahi Korma today. Take the roots, toss them on the side. You do not need them. The oil is hot. Bring it back to heat around medium. And now transfer the onions to the wok. We're going to use a wok today. This is done. Add around a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix it up properly. Do not give it a lid now, but give it a lid after 30 seconds. I'll keep the lid over here. Now what you need is, you need some ginger garlic. Okay, so the ginger garlic's over here. What we'll do is, first we'll shred it. Today I want the shred to be a bit thicker. Okay, now add the lid on it. Once it goes translucent, then it will go brown. Do not cook it on too high heat. Medium would do good. So take some ginger, shred it. And leave the remaining on the side. So this part goes back. As you can see, I have the ginger over here. Push it on the side. Take some garlic and shred that as well. I'm taking the bigger piece today. Why? Because I want the texture to be a bit different. Keep this on the side. I have some ginger on my hand. It's fine because I'm cooking. Okay, this is done. Reduce the heat over here. Sometimes a bit of foam comes out. That's fine. And we're done with the garlic also. The end parts of the garlic goes into the dustbin. Wash your hands once. And now just take a tissue paper and first wipe this off. I like keeping my station clean, so that's what I'll always do. Now increase the heat back to, let's say, low. Okay, now what you need to do is keep this on the side. You don't need it anymore. Now you have some garlic and you have some ginger. Take the lid off. Add it over here. So first goes the garlic. Then we add the ginger. Mix it up properly. You want this to fry because it will enhance the flavor of the recipe. This is done. Now you have to add some cumin to it. Why? Because when you add cumin at this stage, the cumin will start frying and the flavor will increase. This is done. Now, till the time this is frying, what you need to do is you need to start mixing two of the ingredients together. But before we mix it, we'll go for a short break. Once we come back from the break, the onions will be light brown. The mutton would have cooked properly, and then we'll continue with the recipe. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching Indus Cuisine. Welcome back. You're watching Indus Cuisine and I'm your chef, Basim Akhund. So during the break, what I did was I was just taking my time by looking at the onions. Why? Because they go brown to black very quickly, which means they can get burnt very quickly. Why? Because once the moisture is out of the onions, they start changing color within seconds. So as you can see now, they're properly brown. What I'll do is I'll tell you what I did next. The other part of the break was I just let the pressure cooker cool down. Once the pressure cooker cooled down, what I did was I opened it, and here you go, you can see the mutton. It's like really soft. It's falling off the bone. It's 70% done. Why? Because the remaining I will do it over here while I start cooking it again. And the other part is the bone broth. The water from the pressure cooker, do not throw this away. Whenever you want to add any water in your food, it's better use this saved water. Why? Because this bone broth has a lot of flavor in it, and in Pakistan we call it yakhni. What we do is we add some salt to it, and if a kid or if someone is having a bad throat, you give it to them and it has a lot of energy. So this is done. I'll keep it on the side, and now we shall resume our cooking. So what you need to do is, first of all, you need to add the mutton into the oil. Why am I saying it's oil? Why? Because once it's cooked properly, the oil splits, the onion goes on the side, and now you should increase the heat. Now start mixing it properly. You can see how delicious this is looking. Now what we'll do is we'll give the meat a frying texture. So just mix it up. And give it a lid for around, let's say, 2 minutes. Okay, so lid goes on, reduce the heat to medium-low. While this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll sort things out. What you need to do is first, you need to add some spices. Now, what are the spices you need to add right now? Remember, follow this. First goes in the poppy seeds. Why? Because when the poppy seeds cooks with the oil, it will start popping and the flavor is going to come out. Then you need to add some coriander powder. And then you need to add a bit of garam masala towards the end. Whatever is used will go on the side. Take the lid off. Add the poppy seeds. Now, where will I add the poppy seeds? Now, please look carefully. Tilt the pan. The oil is over here. Add the poppy seeds over here so that they get a chance to fry. Around 2 tablespoons. Mix it properly. You can see it's frying. And they're popping now. It will just take 30 seconds, not more than that. Okay, this is done. Now mix it up. Whenever you feel the handle of the pan is hot, just use a cloth. This is done. Now what happens is, as you can see, the poppy seeds are on the pan. Scrape it, put it back in, and now add the other ingredients. Now first of all, you need to salt it properly. Right now I just added half a teaspoon, so let's say add another quarter in total. This is done. Now the spices. First goes in the red chili. Everything goes step by step. Remember that. Why? Because you need to start frying the things, okay? So mix it up again. This is done. A bit of things come out, so just take a tissue paper, clean as you go, because that's what I believe in. Do not wait for people who will help you in your kitchen or your cooking set. Okay, this is done. Now what you need to do is add some spices. Garam masala, not too much. I've kept so much in the thing. Why? Because I want you to see that it's garam masala. Around a quarter teaspoon. Why? Because it's a very strong spice. Keep it on the side. Mix it up again. This brings the flavor out. Now goes in the coriander powder, then some turmeric. This is done. All of this goes on the side. Mix it up properly again. And now we need to make the sauce. So what will you do for that? First you'll add the milk. Increase the heat to really, really high. Mix it up properly. As you can see, the yellow and the brown from the onions is mixing, and the color is changing from yellow to soft chocolate brown. This is done. Now goes in the broth. We'll add around 1.5 cup. Keep it on the side now. Rinse your hands once. And I'm rinsing it because the heat is really high, so I need some cold water. So quick tip. So whenever you're cooking and if you feel your hands are getting really hot because of the water, just put your hands underneath the tap water if it's cold and you'll feel much, much better. Why? Because when you're closer to the heat, your hands start, getting a bit hot, and the circulation of the blood also kind of, changes to the normal. Okay, mix it up. Let it be on high heat. Now goes in the dry fruits. First of all, the cashews. Then goes in the almond. Whatever is used, take it off and put it on the side. Keep your counters clean, remember that. Okay, and now what you need is, you need to add the yogurt. What I'll do is I'll add the yogurt. I'll keep it over here. Slowly and gradually. And mix it up. Slowly mix it. And now you have to cook it for 10 minutes on medium heat. So till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll give it a lid. Why? Because we want the oil to split from the water and yogurt we've put. So till the time this is cooking, we'll just get ready for dishing it out, and then I'll show you the final result of the recipe. So till the time this is cooking for 10 minutes, what we'll do is we'll prepare our desi salad. I'm just doing it in front of you. Why? Because I usually just keep it on the side. But why do I keep it? Because whenever Pakistanis eat this recipe or Asians eat this recipe, they like some sliced onions, some finely chopped coriander, and some green chilies on the side, because At times in Pakistan, some people like their food to be too spicy, so if you're keeping the temperature of the food or the spice level low, what people do is they take spices on the side. So what we'll do is we'll just take one white onion. I'll just chop this part off, throw it on the side, or just keep it in the plate right now. Cut it from between and just finely slice it as close as you can go. This is done. I'll just mix it up, add a little bit of salt, not too much. Why? Because whenever you add salt to it, the moisture of the vegetable starts coming out. So we just salt our things and then we keep it. The onions go over here. I'm keeping it very simple. Why? Because at times simplicity leads to a lot of great things in food, and if you do not need the remaining onion, keep it on the side. And this thing also goes over here, and I'll take the basket away and I'll keep it over here. Now what they do is then they take some green chilies, around 3 to 4, and then you can just finely slice them in an angle. Salt these two. Why? Because the spice level will go down first of all whenever you salt some green chilies, and the moisture is going to come out, so it's going to get a little bit softer when you bite on it. So the green chilies go here. You don't need the stems go in the dustbin. Just take a look over here. You can see the oil coming out. It looks so beautiful. I will just dish it out in another, let's say, 2 minutes. But before that, I need some coriander, which I shall take from the middle part of the bunch. The same thing, I'll take the stems because the stems have a lot of flavor in it. Roll it up like a cigar. Take your chef knife and just pass it through. I'll keep this part on the side. You don't need this anymore, so keep it over here. Whatever you don't need, just shift it on the side. Finely chop it. And when I say finely, it needs to be really, really, really fine. Fold it. This is ready. Keep it over here. And we have the garnish ready for the main recipe whenever you're serving it. Now I'll dish out the recipe, and once I'm done dishing it out, you'll see the final look. So as you can see, today's recipe is ready. It was very easy, quickly done, and actually the fun part is that it was cooked much quicker than the time I actually required. Okay, so as you can see, I've just put some naan bread with it. You can have some naan bread, and if you do not want to have wheat, if you are gluten free type of a person, so what you can do is you can take some rice with it, and if you do not want to have rice, you want to avoid rice also, you can use brown rice. And towards the end, if you're from the Middle East, pita bread would go really, really well with this recipe. So remember one thing, you need to see one thing. Whenever you're cooking, please see over here, you can see there's oil on top. What happens is when you put the yogurt, when you put the water and you let the meat cook, all the fat, all the oil or the butter which you've added in the recipe will start mixing in together. You want it to split. When it splits off, that's the time the recipe is ready. As you can see, there's oil on top. This is the indication of a perfect recipe that is cooked in Pakistan. So if I've done well, and if I was in the Mughal Empire, I think I could be one of the chefs in the Akbar's royal kitchens, and it would be a dream to cook for the king of that time. I hope you liked today's episode. I'll see you in another episode with a new recipe, a delicious one from the heart of Pakistan, somewhere from the north. What I'll try doing. Why? Because they use a lot of barbecue, they cook a lot of meat on coal fire, and that's what I'll try doing for you on the grill over here. Keep watching my show, Indus Cuisine. Signing out. Take care. Bye-bye.